So, five lessons that we can all learn. We're still on a continuous path at Dell learning, and we understand things from our customers every day. A lot of these lessons have come from them, not from us, but we've understood how to work these lessons into our business processes and into our products and services that we deliver. So the first one that I came up with is, only your total cost of ownership model is right, but everybody else in the industry can contribute. And if you're not taking a lot of advice from a lot of people, the tendency is that your TCO model will become very dependent on your internal processes, and you won't go off and continuously reinvent and drive innovation into your infrastructures as you build out, whether you're a hosting company doing low-end dedicated or whether you're building out your own cloud offerings. Your TCO model is only relevant to you because everybody starts from different starting points. Some start with an old data center that they've already invested in 10 years. It's depreciating. Others have very different SLAs. Geography plays a big difference. Labor costs in some parts of the world will change that TCO model dramatically. So essentially, you're the only ones that can build out a sensible total cost of ownership model as you go and deploy infrastructure. But really, work with all of your vendors. Whether it's server and storage vendors or data center vendors or service providers, and make sure that they're contributing all the time into that model, because there are learnings to be had there. It's funny because there's kind of lies, damn lies, and TCO models, and vendors, those pesky damn vendors like ourselves, have a great way of making these models derive benefit for us versus you. And so, take with a huge pinch of salt, what vendors will tell you in terms of positioning our products and services into that TCO model. But there's also a massive amount that you can learn from us, whether it's ourselves or HP or anybody else. Without their deploying thousands of systems every day into thousands of unique environments. So we do have a perspective across the industry, of best practices that we can build into our TCO models. And we do that a lot in the DCS division. We work with our customers on redefining some of those models, and some of the things they take from us they believe, and other things that they discard, but there's always a very, very open dialogue there. The second thing is, obviously, in the cloud, all these very, very large-scaled applications, or if you're doing one or two things, if you're doing search, or if you're doing social media, or if you're doing online gaming, you're not supporting enterprise applications. Your SLAs and your uptimes are going to be very, very different, and the trade-offs you're going to make in terms of the underlying infrastructure should be different depending on those SLAs and what it is you're actually using the IT equipment for. What applications are you running will have a very, very different impact on the actual physical infrastructure you lay down, the types of servers that you're going to be deploying. But one thing that we've clearly seen is, as the move to the cloud happens more and more, if you're supporting, general purpose application and you still have an ethos in your data center of one app, one server, one storage device, one system admin, then the whole revolution of cloud is going to make you very, very cost uncompetitive in those scenarios. So be very conscious that the cloud is moving the cost of infrastructure massively down, and you've got to kind of figure out over the next couple of years, how do I take the learnings from that scaled out infrastructure, apply it to the service levels that your customers still continue to desire. And the third is, again, I'm sure that everybody subconsciously does this, but don't fool yourselves. We've gone into a lot of accounts, we've worked with them on TCO models. We have a self-serving element to this. We want customers to buy from us rather than go and roll their own servers or buy from maybe white box vendors. So we definitely have a self-serving message here, but the key is that as we go and see customers build out their TCO models, they neglect a huge amount of cost for specific reasons. So if you have 10 people managing supply chain, why are you doing that? And is that cost integrated into your TCO model? If you're missing deployments because of scale and your vendors can't keep up with your capacity plans and your growth, are you building that into your TCO model? And this business is one of cents now rather than dollars. So competitive advantage as you scale out, and as the move to cloud happens, you will have to scale out, whether it's through natural growth or to keep competitive. Every cent matters in that TCO model. And if you're not bundling in every cost into it, and you're starting to make decisions on infrastructure, and you don't have those costs in, ultimately you're going to fool yourself on that overall model as you go and balance out your decision between different vendors and different solutions and scenarios. So, important, get every single cost in there, whether it's in the supply chain, whether it's in people managing the supply chain. Acquisition cost itself is always going to be a very, very relevant and large chunk of that model. But again, make sure that you're covering all of the costs and you're using, different departments within your organization, whether it's the finance teams who are relatively independent, or it's the operations teams or the marketing teams, and really try and get every dollar of cost in there, because that will really impact your bottom line if you don't. And this is just an example, and apologies you can't read it, but as we go and build models on behalf of our customers and work with them, get every line item in there. I mean, this is one page of 5 that we have in a generic model we've built up over time. Again, we don't force this on any customers. They've got to figure out what's real and what's perceived costs for them. But we'll be happy to share any of our blank templates with you. But really dig deep and go and spend a lot of time on building the model out and making sure that it's relevant. So here's our advice. Make sure the model's robust. Make sure it's absolutely geared to your business and not the business of the vendor that you're working with or the vendors that you're working with. And as the industry is in a rapid flux of change, be flexible in incorporating those new ideas and that new input that you get from different partners into that model. Don't derive a TCO model, put it on the shelf, and then stick with that one for the next 3 to 5 years, because I can tell you the only constant that we have right now is change, especially as we move into the cloud and cloud goes from the hype cycle into reality.